Hi BookTube, Chelsea the Reading Outlaw here to do a video for you guys about something I don't talk a lot about specifically. Y'all know I love books, obviously. Y'all know I love audiobooks because I talk about them all the time. But something I don't talk about specifically quite as often are all of the podcasts that I listen to. And I recently went through kind of a subscription binge and found a bunch of new podcasts that I'm really liking, in addition to the ones I was already listening to. So I think my grand total of active subscriptions to podcasts is up to 30-ish, not counting the ones I participate in. So yeah, I really love the podcast medium. So we're going to talk today about some podcasts that I really love and want to recommend to you guys. These kind of fall into some general categories. So we're just going to go through them, starting with politics. So if you haven't noticed, the world is on fire. And I have turned into an even bigger kind of political junkie than I was before. So not only, I'm still listening to the Rachel Maddow show every day via podcast because I don't have cable, so I can't actually watch her on TV, but they do an audio version of her podcast the day after she's on the news. So I listen to that, but I've also recently found Pod Save America and Pod Save the World. These podcasts are brilliant. They're put on by the same production team, and they have some kind of overlap in participants and in kind of people who host them. But essentially, these are former White House employees under Obama, people who have experience in the White House and how government is supposed to run. And they are basically just commentating on the news and what's happening. Whether you agree with it or not, it's completely factual to say that our current political climate is unprecedented. Nothing like this has ever happened before here in America, and some very crazy shit is going down. So the guys at Pod Save America and Pod Save the World are discussing it, breaking it down, kind of explaining the laws and how laws work and how lawmaking functions and how all of those things come into interplay with things like the immigration ban or Ivanka Trump and Nordstrom's and all of these things that every day seem to just keep happening. These guys are breaking it down and talking about it. And they're funny and they're glib and there's some cursing, and I just really love it. On the completely opposite end of the spectrum, if you are just inundated and ready to shut down, may I recommend to you Who Weekly. The tagline of Who Weekly is all the things you need to know about all the celebrities you don't. And then it does exactly what it says on the tin. This is an audible version of Us Weekly, talking about all the B-level celebrities, C, D-level celebrities, and the shenanigans of what they're getting up to. I usually know about 75% of the people that they're mentioning. The other 25%, I'm like, who's that? Hence the whole point of the show. It's just very funny. It's very light. It is the perfect kind of distraction from the first set of podcasts that I listen to. And I get really excited when it shows up in my inbox a couple times a week. These next couple are going to be book themed, fandom themed, SFF themed. These ones are probably not going to be a surprise to you. You've heard me mention them before. The first one is Fangirl Happy Hour. Anna and Renee do a fan-fucking-tastic job talking about media, fandom, popular culture, feminism, intersectionality, all of those things together. And I just really value their opinions and respect their opinions. And they always manage to have conversations that are both intelligent and enlightening and also fun. Anna and Renee have a great rapport with one another, and they just get along really well. Even when they don't necessarily share an opinion, it's still really entertaining to watch that process unfold. So I highly recommend this one. Along with that, I also could not more highly recommend the Uncanny Magazine podcast. If you're not subscribed to Uncanny Magazine, fix it, or go listen to this podcast. Preferably do both. The podcast comes out once every couple months and basically breaks down each issue of Uncanny Magazine into two different podcasts. So for example, for the January-February edition, you got one episode in January, one episode in February, reading select pieces from the magazine out loud, reading some of the short stories, some of the poems, some of the interviews that they do with the authors out loud so you can enjoy them with your ears. It is fantastic. And it's a free way to access Uncanny Magazine, although you should definitely also give them your dollars. And then the last one that kind of fits into this category is a new one that I found that's called Lore, Lore, and it is basically all about urban legends and folklore and where these stories come from and how they perpetuate. And it's just it's really fascinating because it blends kind of horror, spec fic, SFF-y type stuff with Americana and those kinds of incidences that people have that everybody seems to have one in their life, but you don't really explain it, so you don't look too hard at it. I love it. I love it so much. And then the last ones that I want to recommend to you are a little bit of a grab bag. Basically, I just like to call them awesome ladies talking about awesome things. The first one is, of course, Call Your Girlfriend. Call Your Girlfriend is Aminatu So and Ann Friedman. They get together to talk about everything from periods to politics to how to treat yourself, how to live a life of luxury on a budget. They're intersectional, they are vibrant, they are hilarious, and they're always incredibly topical. The way that they talk about things feels very relevant and feels very homey. It literally feels like listening in on a phone call between two friends you already have. And the second one that fits into this category is My Favorite Murder. My Favorite Murder is yet again two ladies getting together to talk about the thing they love, only this time it's murder. This is a true crime podcast, and it is basically exactly what it sounds like. They get together and tell stories about true crime, murders in real life, and the things that happen. They research their own stories. They get listener submission stories that they then share. And if you're at all into true crime or all into smart ladies talking about smart stuff, this is one to check out. And then the very last thing that I'm going to recommend to you is actually a newer podcast that I've just been turned on to. The podcast itself is not new in any way, but my listening to it is a new development. And that's the Smart Bitches Trashy Books podcast. It is great. It is run by the ladies of Smart Bitches Trashy Books. The website, which is essentially a romance review site, but Smart Bitches Trashy Books talks about romance and all of the issues of culture that play into romance writing, whether that's consent or gender roles or representation of body types, whatever like your thing is. These guys will have a podcast episode where they kind of talk about it and talk about it in the guise of romance novels. Plus they have like dick jokes and poop jokes, and they talk about their cats. So it's just all of the things rolled into one. Yeah, those are some of the podcasts that I've recently found and really been loving. Please let me know down below if you have podcasts that you really love or listen to. I'm always looking for new things to add to the feed because, you know, that's what I need is more media. Let me know if you listen to any of these, what your thoughts are. I'm more than happy to talk to you guys about books. If you want to hit me up all over social media, it's all in the down bar. As always, like, subscribe, comment, come back and see me. Until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and have happy reading.